When you call Early Autism Project, you are assigned a board certified behavior analyst who would be in charge of your child's program. And mine happened to be Ann Eldridge. She arrived at our house one day, and we had a great meeting, and she laid out how everything was going to work. And a few days later, I met my senior therapist and our lead therapist. And a couple weeks after that, I had our team meeting. And it was an intense, long meeting. But when she left, 2 days later, I had this fabulous notebook. I had my to-do list, and we were ready to go. When you begin a home-based therapy program, you have to kind of get your mind around the fact that your home is no longer going to be just your home. It's also going to be your child's workplace, if you will. So we had people in and out of our home from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. And looking back on that now, I think that that was probably the most critical time for Winston, because we were all there. His siblings were there, I was there, and even though there were therapists coming in and out of the house all day long, my other two children were able to really maintain their normal routines. But they were also exposed to Winston and his world, and they were learning his language because they could hear all the therapy going on in our home. So Winston learned sign language. So the doctor who said that he was incapable of learning, he was mistaken, because within 2 weeks, Winston had mastered 20 signs. So he did know how to communicate. He was able to learn. But the beauty of that was that my other children were also learning those signs. And so when Early Autism Project left my house at 6:30 at night, we could pick up where they left off, and we could be with Winston and enjoy him before he went to bed.
When Winston was diagnosed, I was in my third year of residency, so I was super busy. But I was there for the initiation of the program, and I'll never ever forget. I mean, the word swing for me is a sacred word, because it was the first word that Winston signed, swing, and so it's kind of a sacred word for me. But my relationship with Early Autism Project is really one of facilitating whatever they need to do what they need to do. I don't think I've ever said no. I just let them do their thing, because every step of the way they've proved their way.
I never said this is hopeless, ever. And I still don't feel that it's hopeless. There's always hope. Always. I mean, that's my faith, I guess. God has always taken care of Winston and us, and there's always hope. So I've never said this is hopeless. I've said this may be as good as it gets. Is this as good as it gets? Because if this is as good as it gets, okay, then we're good. We'll deal with that. But I've never said this is hopeless. Early Autism Project, they helped me make my family whole again. I mean, they gave me my child back. They came in and they not only embraced Winston, but they embraced my other children, and they embraced my husband and me, and they taught us what we needed to know to help Winston be the best boy that he can be. And they've continued to teach us. I mean, it's an ongoing it's an ongoing relationship, because every week Winston gets better and better, and we have to be able to adapt to his needs, meet him, and they help us with that. They help all of us with that. They're always available to answer questions or to offer support. That's what they have done for us. I mean, they have kind of closed that circle for our family.
I love to play basketball and go on a run. Being on a cross-country team is really hard work. I like to run around the neighborhood a lot, every day. At school, I worked really hard on history, math, ELA, and science. I got an 85 on science retest.
He walked in the door and he was able to have a conversation. That was never supposed to happen. That's what we were told at diagnosis. He's 14 years old. He's living at home. He has friends. He plays on teams. He's a relatively normal kid. That was not supposed to happen. So, Early Autism Project, by coming in and starting early and having the dream, knowing what was possible when we had no idea what was possible, enabled Winston to start down this path where he's made successive leaps, progression in his behavior and his speech and his ability to learn. So they plotted the path and defined the strategy and then executed.
When they first started, I had a child who had no self-help skills, no language, no ability to really operate in our world. And now I have a child who is in general education in middle school, who talks, who has a fabulous sense of humor, who has friends, who participates in sports. All of that is because of the work that they have done with him and with us, because when they leave, he's here with us. So if they didn't take the time to work with us as well, it just would not be as effective, I don't think.
Well, it's made our family. We're a stronger family because of Winston. He's the cornerstone. His siblings rally around him, and without even knowing it, we have 3 kids that practice ABA therapy on a regular basis without even knowing it, because they're in it. They're surrounded by it. They hear it. They live it. And it's made our family such a more cohesive unit. They saved Winston's life.